Chapter 716, A Contradictory Talented Woman. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. What's the difference? I asked. Even Saint Lady, who was standing on the cloud, arched her eyebrows in curiosity, eager to know what Lin Yue thought of it. Zhang Yuochen replied calmly. First, she invited you and the top geniuses in the demonic sect to participate in the sword technique conference. So the initiative is in her hands. Second, the Kiz made secret deals with the demonic sect to seek interests in the eastern region. Obviously, she has no control over this matter, so she felt resentful. As for her, in such a high position, there is no friend or foe anymore. In her eyes, everyone is classified into two groups. One group is composed of people under her control and the other is composed of people she cannot control. As long as one is under her control, even an enemy can be a friend. If she cannot control someone, she might kill them, even if they are friends. I nodded slightly, understanding Zhang Yuochen's meaning. Swoosh! A white light column fell straight from the vault of heaven to the earth not far from Zhang Yuochen and Mulinxi. The white light swiftly shrank and revealed Saint Lady's graceful figure. With a cold look on her face, Saint Lady walked toward them and said, Lin Yue, am I so vicious in your eyes? Zhang Yuochen and Mulinxi were both astounded upon Saint Lady's appearance. Zhang Yuochen had admitted his spiritual power to cover the entire Zixia sacred mountain so that when a half-saint approached, he would be aware of it. This was why he had spoken freely with Mulinxi. He had never expected, however, that the superior Saint Lady would pay attention to him and would even eavesdrop on his conversation with Mulinxi. If she had any concern, all Saint Lady needed to do was send someone to call him. Why did her true body have to emerge here? Has she discovered my identity? Said Zhang Yuochen to himself. A current of icy air began to rise from below his feet. He took out an elixir refined with death chi and clenched it in one hand, ready to fight. If his real identity had already been discovered, he had no choice but to use space moving and use the death chi to attack her by surprise. This was the only way he would have a chance to escape. However, Saint Lady had already suffered a setback in Chi Hong's hands, so she was definitely more cautious. The possibility that Zhang Yuochen could successfully attack using death chi again was very small. Zhang Yuochen had to give it a shot anyway, no matter what. Mulinxi was nervous as well. She had already met Saint Lady before, so she would definitely be recognized. With a complex expression on her face, Saint Lady fixed her eyes on Mulinxi and said, Demonic Saintess. Mulinxi. Nervous as she felt, Mulinxi appeared quite calm outwardly as she bowed to Saint Lady. My respects to Her Excellency, Saint Lady. Zhang Yuochen knew that there was great hostility between the imperial court and the demonic sect, and now Mulinxi, disguised as an outer disciple to sneak into the Yin and Yang sect, had been discovered by Saint Lady. He wondered what Saint Lady would do to her. Zhang Yuochen was worried about Mulinxi, remembering the consequence for the Kiz descendants. He stood up immediately, walked in front of Mulinxi to protect her, and said, Miss Mu came to the Yin and Yang sect upon my invitation. I'd like to assume all responsibility. Your Excellency, considering that we have faced life and death together, please let Miss Mu go. Actually, Saint Lady had not taken Mulinxi's presence seriously. After all, she had promulgated an imperial edict to invite Mulinxi to the Yin and Yang sect to participate in the sword technique conference. When she saw Lin Yue stand up for Mulinxi, however, Saint Lady felt a sudden irritation in her originally calm heart. She said, the genius of the Tower of the Sword in the Yin and Yang sect is dating the demonic saintess. If I report this to the master of the Yin and Yang sect, I'm afraid both of you will die. Zhang Yuochen frowned and said with humility, Miss Mu and I are just friends, and we haven't done anything detrimental to the suzerain. If you distort facts, I will think that you don't have the decency that a saint should have. Lin Yue had changed his manner of address from Your Excellency to you, indicating that he had lost respect for her and that he had become hostile. What just happened? Saint Lady thought to herself with some frustration. A casual word had actually gotten her into such an awkward situation. Saint Lady tried to eliminate negative emotions in her mind and said with a smile, Lin Yue, it seems that in your eyes, I am really spiteful. To tell you the truth, I did not order the cleanup of the Kiss descendants. It was an internal rectification inside the Yin and Yang sect. Saint Lady immediately regretted saying this. She was a saint. Why did she have to give such a detailed explanation to a monk in the fish dragon realm? Zhang Yuochen felt relieved inwardly. Since Saint Lady could still converse with him calmly, it meant his real identity had not been exposed. As long as his real identity remained hidden, he still had chances to turn things around. Zhang Yuochen stared at Saint Lady and said, "In the deceased god cemetery, you once said that if I encounter any difficulty, I could turn to you for help. You saved my life. I owe you one." Saint Lady nodded in agreement. Zhang Yuochen said, "If so, I wish to ask that you spare Miss Mu's life. Please let her go." Saint Lady looked at him deeply, while her left hand behind her clenched the black bell. She said, "Lin Yue, do you know that the favor I owe could be very useful to you? Even if you were to ask to be one of the 9 Kunlun heirs, I could promise you that. Will you consider it again? Number. If you can keep your word, please let Ms. Mu leave the Yin and Yang sect." Zhang Yuochen said resolutely. Mu Lingxi stood up as well. She stretched out a hand and held Zhang Yuochen's wrist tightly as she stood beside him. Even when faced with Saint, she remained calm. Seeing that they were so intimate, Saint Lady frowned. Then she said with a smile, "Mu Lingxi is a guest I have invited to the Yin and Yang sect. Even if you wanted to use the favor I owe, I won't agree. I'm afraid you'll think I have taken advantage. It'll ruin my reputation." Mu Lingxi understood the Saint Lady's words fully, and she shone with delight and said, "Thank you, Your Excellency." Saint Lady glanced at Lin Yue and said, "I came to the Zixia Sacred Mountain to inform you that I will hold a Kunlun Heirs banquet in Shantai City next month. I hope you'll turn up on time." After saying this, Saint Lady turned to leave. After several steps, she stopped, looked back at Zhang Yuochen and Mu Lingxi, and said, "You can never be too careful in your dates in the future. This time, you were lucky I was the one you encountered. If any other saint in the Yin and Yang sect finds out that the demonic saintess hides among the outer disciples, I'm afraid they won't let you go like I did." Saint Lady had wanted to return the bell to Lin Yue, but a strange idea held her back. Eventually, she left with the bell. Even with a soft smile on her face, her heart was bitter. Mu Lingxi opened her red lips and heaved a long sigh. "I didn't think Saint Lady would be so sensible. No wonder they say she is the perfect girl. I've begun to admire her." Zhang Yuochen asked, "Don't you think she was too sensible?" Mu Lingxi thought about it carefully and began to feel that something was wrong. Saint Lady had transcended into a saint and was Afmal official around the Empress. What a big shot! However sensible she was, she should still keep her dignity. Otherwise, how would she intimidate recalcitrant saints in the imperial court? Mu Lingxi said, "Perhaps because you saved her life, she is grateful to you or even treats you as a friend. If so, it's not surprising. Because of Kai Yao, I am instinctively guarded against Saint Lady." Zhang Yuochen said as he shook his head slightly. He decided not to give it any more thought. Zhang Yuochen had no ill feeling toward Saint Lady. After all, his animosity toward Kai Yao had nothing to do with Saint Lady. Mu Lingxi remembered something. She quietly cast her eyes at Zhang Yuochen and said, "There is one thing I have to tell you." "What?" Zhang Yuochen asked. Mu Lingxi pursed her lips and said in a low voice, "Sister Chen has come to the Yin and Yang sect and is now in Shantai City. Do you want to meet her?" As the Sword Technique Conference approached, the monks of the Tower of the Sword from different places had begun arriving in the Yin and Yang sect. They were accommodated in the border trade zones of the 5 cities outside and were not allowed to enter the mountain gate of the Yin and Yang sect until the day of the Sword Technique Conference. Huang Yanjun was one of the heiresses of the East Region Saint Mansions, and she was obviously qualified to participate in the Sword Technique Conference. Yanjun. Zhang Yuochen smiled bitterly as he nodded and said, "Since I have come to the Yin and Yang sect, I should meet her." Zhang Yuochen, together with Mu Lingxi, left Zixia Sacred Mountain for the mountain gate,